The Ride1Up Portola is similar in a lot of ways to pretty much every single folding bike on the market, around $1,000. The design, the size, the components, the features, the specs, almost everything lines up with the market. However, the thing that Ride1Up always does better than all of the competition is the level of polish they put on their products. Just from the unboxing experience, to the riding experience, to the general look and feel of their products, you feel like you're just getting more for your money, even if on paper it looks really similar to other bikes. So today I'm going to be breaking down the Portola. We're going to be going through all the features. We're going to be going through all the specs. I'm going to take it for a ride, give you the pros and cons, compare it to some other bikes on the market, and give you my overall impression. So let's go. Now, generally speaking, folding bikes give you a lot of bang for the buck. If you're just getting into e-bikes, folding bikes are a great option because you don't need to worry about buying a bike rack. You don't need to have a super large car. They fold down super compactly and can fit in just about any car. They can fit in the corner of your apartment. They're easy to move around. They're easy to ride. I love folding bikes for that reason. The other big upside is the price, and this comes in at $1,049 right now. We will have a discount code down in the description, so if you like what you see here, you can use that to get a little bit off of your purchase, and maybe that'll push you to pull the trigger on getting one. As always, you're getting 20-inch tires. You get a little bit wider tires on the Portola. These are 3-inch wide tires, and that's going to give you a little bit more traction if you happen to be riding in the dirt or that kind of stuff. It also will give you a little bit better bump absorption and that kind of stuff to help out the front suspension. Speaking of suspension, you get 80 millimeters of travel with this front suspension fork. That's actually better than some of the full-size bikes I've tested that are more expensive than this. So this is actually suspension that you're going to feel. And right there is one little element of polish that you don't see on other bikes at this price. You usually get about 30 millimeters of travel. 80 is almost triple that. And you also get the additional lockout so that if you're climbing a hill or something and you don't want the suspension fork to compress on you, you can just go ahead and flip the switch and lock the fork out. This Shimano Altis derailleur is pretty par for the course. One thing you don't always see is an 8-speed, and that's what this has. I really like 8 speeds over 7 speeds because you sometimes get to that 7th gear and then you're spinning in place just to keep the bike up at the top speeds. Whereas with that 8th gear, you can kind of feel like you're still pedaling even towards those higher top end speeds. And speaking of speeds, you get speeds of up to 28 miles an hour with this bike. This is a class 3 bike. On the frame it says class 2, but you can go into the P settings and change it so that it goes all the way up to 28 miles an hour. It's a 750 watt motor, which is another thing that is a little bit of an edge over the competition. You typically only see 350 watt or 500 watt motors, and that makes a huge difference when it comes to hill climbing and acceleration and that kind of stuff. It just has the edge if you're looking for that little bit of extra performance. You get a fairly beefy 48 volt battery, and then this bike comes in 2 battery sizes, and that's the price difference. It's a $100 price difference between the 10.4 amp hour version and the 13.4 amp hour version. You're supposed to get upwards of like 10 extra miles per battery with the 13.4 amp hour edition. I think that if you're riding more than like 20 to 25 miles, that it is worth upgrading to the larger one. But otherwise, just save the $100. And that's a pretty great deal that you can get this bike under $1,000. This battery is fully removable. You just pop the key in, turn this, boom, you can pop it out and charge the battery elsewhere. If you're in like an apartment or a condo or something and want to park your bike downstairs and lock it up, you can bring your battery upstairs and charge it separately, and then just pop that back in the next day. You're good to go. Okay, let's move to the cockpit now. This is a very standard setup with a very standard display, but these black and white displays, they are very visible in bright light, and that's all I really care about. I just want to see what riding mode I'm in, where the battery level is, and my general speed. I don't really look at this a ton, but when I do look at it, I want it to be visible no matter how bright it is outside. You get a really standard thumb throttle. This is obviously a hub drive bike, so The throttle is going to be pretty responsive and is going to be something that you might end up liking and using often. Here's the 8-speed Shimano shifter. It's nice to not see one of the ones up here that has the thumb and trigger like this. It's just kind of awkward to reach for. I like being able to just rest my hand in one place, and theoretically I can put all of my fingers on each of the shifters and on the brake at the same time without any issues. And then these grips are locking, have a palm rest, they're not gonna slide around. This is a little touch you almost never see at this price, you know, getting a really decent pair of grips. And another thing you don't see very often at this price is the hydraulic disc brakes. Love to see this. Hydraulic disc brakes offer better stopping power, less maintenance, and you pair it with these large 180mm rotors in the front and the back, and you get fantastic stopping power, and it's a really, really strong suit of this bike. For additional features, you get front and rear metal fenders. I kind of like plastic fenders just a touch more because they make a little bit less noise when riding over dirt and that kind of stuff. You're gonna really hear stuff getting kicked up, but the metal ones obviously aren't gonna flex as much and feel and look a little bit higher quality. You also get this rear rack. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it's about a 25kg rack because I don't think I've ever seen a folding bike rack that's not a 25kg rack, although it is welded to the frame, meaning that it might be able to take more than the 55, 60 pounds that most of the bolt-on rear racks can take. And then just to comment again on just the overall polish and finish of this bike. The frame is painted super nicely. All the welds look fantastic. It has a very, you know, nice feel to it. Like, you don't feel like you just got a cheap Chinese parts bins folding bike like so many of these folding bikes are. This feels like real quality and like real thought went into the components and the overall look and feel of the bike. So big props to Ride1Up for putting their usual polish on this bike. This has the usual folding points on the handlebars and on the frame down here. This one, you just press this button on the side here, push the lever down, and then push the button in the front. That will fold this all the way down. Just gotta make sure you don't disconnect the display. Then that just folds out of the way, and then that folds right in half. If you remember the kickstand. Bada bing, bada boom. And this compactness, as I mentioned, just makes it so easy to carry around in any sort of car. Even my truck, I have a little Ford Maverick, and even that, folding this up is super nice because I don't have to figure out how to like lay it down in the bed or anything like that. The one thing I will say is that if you look over here, if you lay it down on this side, like if you're trying to find a good place to lay it down rather than propping it up like this, if you lay it down on its side, it kind of rests on the whole handlebar section, which I don't love. And if you rest it on the other side, then you're resting it on the drivetrain. Both of those options I don't love, so I actually tend to transport it with the handlebars still up like this, and then it can rest on a side where it doesn't have any delicate parts or anything like that. I also really quickly wanted to cover fit here because that's something that I get a lot of questions about, is how does it fit larger riders? I'm 6'1", about 205 pounds, and this is really comfortable. This seat post goes plenty high for me. The handlebars aren't adjustable like I mentioned, but they fit me really comfortably, and I don't see anyone of really any height feeling like these needed to be higher or lower. They picked a really good height for these. And then our friends over at Redshift sent us out these really cool pedals. This is not sponsored, by the way. I just thought these pedals were really cool. These are pedals that replace your existing ones, thread right in, and they have a light on the front and a brake light on the back, and it can tell which way your pedal is facing and change the color accordingly. So I thought this was the perfect opportunity to test these out, see if they work, and see how they feel to use. So let's throw them on. Okay, we're on the right side of the bike here, and just to show you an example, let me click these on. You can see this side is facing forward and it's a light. That's actually a really decent light. And the side that's facing back is a brake light. And then when you switch it, they'll switch. So it actually detects which way the pedal is facing. That's super awesome. And that's just like a really easy way to increase your visibility at night. Really easy way to increase how far you can see And I still think you'd need probably a helmet light or a handlebar light specifically for this bike, but that's super dope. And there's the pedal in action, very cool. And then if you flip it, boom, switches. Nice, that's awesome. So if you want to get a set of these, the link will be down below in the description. Again, this is not sponsored, but I thought these were really cool. And if you guys like them too, you can grab them down below. Okay, so this comes class 2 out of the box, but you can change it to class 3. I actually cycled through a ton of P settings trying to figure it out, and it's actually really simple. So it'll come class 2 out of the box. You go to this main screen, you press the power and down button, hold it for a couple seconds, then you'll see the number change. So now it's a class 1 bike. I'll do it again. Now it's a class 2, so that's how it'll come out of the box. So you just pull it out of the box, press these two, boom, class 3, now is 28 miles an hour. It's that simple. Don't go digging through the P settings like I did. Save yourself some time. Okay, before anything, we've got to do a top speed test. I love how quick this bike is, so I will show you how fast it goes and how quickly it accelerates. So 3, 2, 1, go. And as with most hub drive bikes, I just stick it in the highest gear and just go to town, because as long as you're in the highest mode and the highest gear, the thing will just go. You don't have to worry about downshifting and upshifting and stuff. I saw as high as 29 there. Once you get up this fast though, even with the 8th gear, you are kind of just spinning in place. 28 miles an hour is actually really uncommon at this price, just in general. And then let alone on a folding bike, especially a folding bike of this quality. Just because you have a quote unquote entry-level folding bike doesn't mean that it can't be fun and fast. So let me run through the riding modes real quick while we're at it. Zero mode, as usual, is, you know, no motor. And it's usually about as difficult, no, a little bit more difficult than riding a bike that has no motor, because you have the extra weight. 1 should put you about where it'd be if you were riding a bike normally. So you can just turn this on, stick it in 1, and ride a bike normally if you're trying to just get a workout, if you don't want the motor assistance. And in mode 1, I would guess you would easily be able to get 40 to 50 miles of just like this mild assistance. Same thing with this 2 mode. 1 and 2 are pretty much the same. 3 is typically on most bikes your normal riding mode. That's kind of what they expect you to be riding it in. And when they quote their expected range numbers, they're usually assuming that you're going to be riding kind of mostly in this mode. So my guess would be 30 to 35 miles of range in this mode. You still can get up to 20 miles an hour when you have it in class 3 mode, when you're in mode 3. Let's see how much of a jump 4 is. Honestly, 4, not much of a jump from 3. So 1 and 2 are similar, 3 and 4 are similar. I think you're going to see the biggest jump once you get up to 5, because I think it's going to add in that extra level of power. Then mode 5 is going to be your best friend. I pretty much ride all my bikes in mode 5 because it's fun, and the throttle is only going to give you speeds of up to 20 miles an hour, because that's just how the class 3 classification works. The other thing that's really, really noticeable on this bike is how fantastic the brakes are. I mean, it is stupid how good these brakes are. And you like to see that. Like, you can get away with cable brakes on a 20 mile an hour bike, but as soon as you start getting up towards 30, you want those hydraulic brakes. You want that really quick stopping power, but also like the nice progression that hydraulic disc brakes give you, where you can feather them and you feel that full engagement. It's not like the all on or off feel that sometimes the cable brakes give you. Generally speaking, this is a really comfortable bike. Like the tires, the little bit of extra width and thickness on the tires, and the 80 millimeters of suspension, like it's something that's definitely very noticeable. There's a little bit of noise from that motor. It's a little whiny, but that's kind of you know, again, par for the course, and you're getting a 750 watt motor, which is much higher than you typically see. But I mean, overall, this is just, I'll just come out and say it, this is just one of, if not the best folding bike on the market at $1,000. There's a ton of competition, as I already mentioned, but this is just the best. It's hard to find anything that competes with that. Ride1Up has always done an amazing job of offering fantastic bang for the buck. Like, they'll take an existing formula, sure, but they'll make it a better value than anything else on the market. The wider knobby tires also means that, you know, a little bit of dirt riding is not going to be any issue for this thing. It's going to be really comfortable. This is just going to be a fast, fun, reliable, affordable little bike, no matter your experience level, you know? And I think if you're only going to buy one bike and you want it to be portable and that kind of thing, a folding bike around this price is just the best value proposition. And it's hard to make a case of why you should buy something besides this Portola at the price. So yeah, I'm real impressed. Ride1Up has done a fantastic job. They always do a fantastic job. They're absolutely one of my favorite brands by a landslide. They've made a fantastic folding bike. I've been waiting for them to come out with a fantastic folding bike. They have some of the best just budget bikes in general. We have reviews of a few other on our channel, and we plan to continue to review Ride1Up. So go check out the other videos on the channel. Go check out this bike and Ride1Up's full lineup down in the description. Let me know if you have any questions down in the comments section. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, stay frosty, and I'll see you in the next one.